This screen, I'm going to label these two angles as 60 degrees for angle 2 and 50 degrees for angle 4. I'm going to say that lines A and B are in fact parallel to each other. And so what I would like you to do is go ahead and find all the rest of the angles listed. Find the rest of the angles listed on there. See what you can come up with. Go. Nevada, somebody told me yesterday that Bryant holds the record for the pacer at Southwest.
Yep.
So sometimes historical things are mentioned, but nobody actually witnessed them.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know if this has been witnessed and confirmed?
I witnessed it.
You did. Well, that's why I'm asking. Have you witnessed? So you're saying
I
you have
was there
witnessed.
when he did it.
Like, did they then have like Bryant Johnston Day after that, like commemorating the
No,
moment?
I went to lunch actually, I think.
Went to lunch?
Yeah.
Wow. How many was it?
It was like
138.
138 or 139. It was, or 136.
Who was the teacher
I
at
don't
the
know.
time?
I thought it was even.
It was, I don't know. It was handsome.
Yeah.
Okay, Carol Hansen.
Yeah.
All right. Well, all right. Good for you. Pacer man. All right. So what is this angle up top? 70. Notice that if you have opposite angles, we call those vertical angles, this would be 50 here. If the lines are parallel, then corresponding angles are the same. So angle 5 would be 50 as well. If you know that angle 2 is 60, then this has to be 60. And these are what we call alternate interior angles. Alternate interior angles is something that will come up on the test, which means angle 8 is 60. They're also corresponding there, which makes angle 7 120 degrees. Be ready for transversals and parallel lines. You should also be ready to calculate area by splitting shapes up into a couple shapes. So we are going to look at this purple part here. Don't find the perimeter. Just see if you can find the area of that weird shape. See if you can find the area of that weird shape. Go. Okay, notice that the area of the box is 20, and then you're going to find the area of that triangle up top. Area of a triangle is equal to 1/2 times the base times the height. The length of the base that I'm drawing in red is 5. You can see that plainly. And then the height is 6, because if the entire length is 10 and that's 4, then we have 6. Half of 5 times 6 is 15. The total area is 35. So be ready to break a shape up into multiple parts. Find that area. Any question there?
That'll work.
What's that?
Just like, I mean, you don't have that gap. You have the 5 over here and the 6 over here, so if you don't need the whole thing.
No, the base, if you have a triangle that looks like this, we refer to as the blue part as the base. If the triangle looks like this, we still refer to the purple part as the base. Okay. The height would be here. The height would be here. Okay, good question. All right, use Pythagorean theorem. Again, I don't make this stuff up. I look at exactly what the ACT said, which took hours, but after I did it once, it was great because now I have it for years to come. It wants to use integer use of the Pythagorean theorem. So you know these things quickly. So for example, 3, 4, 5 makes a right triangle. So does 5, 12, and 13. So does 8, 15, and 17. So does 7, 24, and 25. It also works out that any of the multiples also work. So for example, 3, 4, 5, you can multiply the 3 and, whoops, sorry about that. You can multiply the 3 and the 4 to get 6 and 8 by multiplying by 2. So therefore, x is going to be 10. So any multiple will work as well. Obviously, if you have 12 and 13, you're going to have a 5 over there. Okay? So you might be asked to calculate the Pythagorean theorem using a actual calculation method as opposed to just remembering those numbers. And in this situation, we have a room, which I'm going to do my best to draw a 3-dimensional room. And in that room, we are wondering what is the distance, the longest distance from corner to corner in the room. Longest distance corner to corner in the room. It says that the room is 10 feet wide, it is 12 feet deep, and it is 9 feet tall. Part of what people may fail to see, I'm going to do my best to help you see this spatially, is that this diagonal from corner to corner, it actually comes from a right triangle. And that right triangle, the base of that right triangle, which I will draw right now in blue, that base that's in blue happens to be a hypotenuse of this 10-12 right triangle. So notice we have that 90-degree angle there. This is a 10-12 right triangle. If I want to be able to figure out the purple length, I'm going to start by figuring out the blue length, which would be 10 squared plus 12 squared is equal to, we'll say, c squared. So let me calculate that for me.
15.62.
Did you say it's 15.62? Great, so we've got 15.62. That's equal to the hypotenuse. I know the red length. The red length is 9. So now I can do a squared plus b squared is c squared in order to get the purple length. Gunnar, do you want to help us out there again?
18.03.
And we get 18.03. It says to round to the nearest tenth of a foot, so we can say 18 feet on the nose. So a multi-step of the Pythagorean theorem. Next problem, we're looking at angles within a polygon. We refer to these as interior angles. This is a 6-sided polygon. Does anybody know how many degrees are there in a 6-sided polygon? Talk to your friend and see if you figure out how many degrees would there be a 6-sided polygon. What can you come up with? Go, talk. What do you remember?
I don't remember. Isn't that?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, I don't personally enjoy memorizing formulas. I like to understand why it works. So this is a formula that people try to memorize. I just try to think about it. There's 180 degrees of what shape?
Triangles.
Triangle. So how many triangles can we create here? It's like there's 4, right? So we have 4 triangles. So it's 4 times 180. That's equal to 720. That's all you do. So maybe you remember from your geometry class, what you did is you took 180 and you multiplied it by the number of sides minus 2. Does somebody remember that kind of formula? That's just what it means. It just means how many triangles you fit. So it's always 2 less the number of sides. That's it. So 720 degrees. So I know these all add up to 720, which means that if I take 720 and I start subtracting off all of these angles, I should come up with x. So we want to take 720 minus 90, 120, 110, 130, 160.
110.
110 degrees is going to be that final result. The next one is different because it's not interior angles, it's exterior angles. This one you don't need to figure it out. This one you do need to memorize. What do all of the exterior angles of a shape add up to?
360.
360. So we are going to subtract 70, 60, 165, 40. We're going to subtract all that from 360 here and come up with 125 degrees. So those are some good geometry things to remember. Okay. They're also going to ask you to consider symmetry. Talk with the person next to you. How many lines of symmetry are there through each of those two shapes? Come up with it. See what you got. Go.
Mirror. 2 and 3.
Okay, and stop. You should have 1 and 2 for the first one. For the second one, you should have 1, 2, and 3. 3 lines of symmetry through there. 3 lines of symmetry, 2 and 3. Isosceles triangle. Got to be able to work with isosceles triangles. What do we know about an isosceles triangle?
2 the same side.
2 sides are the same, which also means that
2 angles.
2 angles are the same. So we know this other angle is x plus 10. Suppose the problem was to find the measurement of all the missing angles. What would you do?
Add them all up equal to 180.
Very good. So we have x plus 10 plus x plus 10 plus 3x is all equal to 180. If we added all those together, we do get a 5x, and plus 20 is equal to 180. Subtract the 20, we have 5x is equal to 160, and divide by 5, x is equal to none other than 32 degrees. So if we know x is 32, is that our final answer? We plug it back in, we get a 42, we get a 42, and we get a 96. What if we wanted to check our answer? What would we do?
Add them all together.
Add them all up, make sure that they add to 180. The next one, I would like you to find the area and the perimeter of the following shape. The area and the perimeter, not the volume, but the area and the perimeter of that shape. Got a couple missing sides. ACT loves to give you this kind of question, see if you can figure it out. Go. I have the two missing sides is 3 and 3, so I have a perimeter of 22. I have an area of 21. We good? Okay, flip it over. Good job. Keep good pace. My good friend Emmy Dawson, I was asking her about these questions. Please always remember the area and circumference of circles. She very confidently said that the area of a circle is 2 pi r. Is she correct?
No.
No, she actually wrote down circumference is 2 pi r, but she spoke for the area is 2 pi r. Ben Schultz witnessed it, and we then shamed her for saying so. What is the formula for area of a circle? Pi r squared. Please don't forget those, folks. Area is pi r squared, and circumference is 2 pi r. Okay? please know those. They will not give those to you. Those are seen as kind of common knowledge when you're taking the ACT. Okay? Determine the area of a circle whose circumference is 20 pi. I know the circumference. I want to find the area. So therefore, I'll take 20 pi and set it equal to 2 pi r. What is the radius? 10. If you now know the radius, can you go back and find the area? Yeah. So if the radius is 10, then I use my pi r squared and I get 100 pi. That's the area if the circumference is 20 pi. I would like you to do the next one. Find the diameter if the area is 48 pi. And your answer will be written in simplest radical form.
Wait, I have a question. So, because they'll take the ACT or whatever, what do are we gonna like have to take a test or what are we gonna do? Like we'll just do this?
We will do nothing. I've been told very plainly that no matter who's in my classes, sophomores, juniors, or seniors, the day that we do the MCA and the day that we do the ACT, there will be absolutely nothing that will happen in class. Nothing. If you're a senior, I'll probably sit down and ask you what your plans are next year. Okay. I'm proctoring the MCAs. They'll actually be happening in my room. The ACT will be happening in the gym. And you guys will follow me to wherever, but you won't really be doing it. All right. So I have 48 pi is equal to pi r squared. Notice when I solve for r, the pi's cancel and I end up with the root of 48, otherwise known as 4 roots of 3. That's equal to the radius. If you're going to double that to get the diameter, we have 8 roots of 3 is in fact equal to the diameter. Okay. So Catilla, when you start seeing trig stuff, okay, this is where you want to be like, yeah, I know how to do this, right? There's no questions. You're excellent at all the trig stuff. That's what you've been doing. Would you set up sine, cosine, or tangent for the first triangle? Tangent. You'd have the tangent of 24 is equal to x over 12. You could cross multiply and solve. The next one is you set up sine, cosine, or tangent.
Cosine. No.
Is it sine or cosine? Which one is it? It's sine. You have opposite over hypotenuse. Sine of 51 is 14 over x. Again, cross multiply and solve. Next one, sine, cosine, or tangent. Cosine of the angle is equal to 4 over 5. Can you solve for an angle? Is that possible?
Yes.
What do you press? Inverse cosine on your calculator. Very good. Rotation is another geometric idea. Again, these are all falling under the category of geometry, actually, on the ACT. What is the coordinate that results from rotating 4, -2, 180 degrees? There are ways in which you can memorize rules for this. I think it's better to just visualize it. You're going to take the coordinate 4, -2, and what we're going to do is we're going to rotate that 180 degrees. So if you rotate 180 degrees, it's going to look somewhat similar to the previous coordinate. Anybody want to guess what we get?
Opposites of both.
-4, -2.
-4, +2. So yes, you were right, Ms. Wackles. You got opposites of each. Okay, back 4 and up 2 instead of over 4 and down 2. Opposites of each.
Oh.
Now, if we rotate 90 degrees, we're going to take this and we're going to move it here. Maybe want to guess what that would be? 2, 4. And then this one is actually from our unit. You'll make me very proud if you remember this, but not a lot of people are. Suppose you reflect it over the line y is equal to x. What are you going to get? Remember that if you reflect over y equals x, you are performing the inverse operation, and inverse operation simply takes x and switches it with y. So they just swap values, that's it. Okay. All right, let's go to another geometric idea, which is surface area and volume. In order to find volume, we take the area of the base and we multiply it by the height. What shape makes the base here? What shape makes the base?
Triangle.
It is the triangle because the triangle is something that can then be pushed through the rest of the shape. The area of that triangle, 1/2 base times height, is equal to 6. I multiply by the height, which is 8, and I get 48 inches cubed. What I'd like you to do is see if you can find the surface area. The surface area is the sum of the area of all the faces. You have 5 faces. See if you can calculate the area of 5 faces, add that up. I got 108. Is that what you got? Okay. I cross off the faces when I do them. Make sure I've got each one. 108 is the deal. Flip up to the top here. 30, 60, 90s. You will probably have a 30, 60, 90 question on your test. It says the hypotenuse is length 12. Do you remember how we find the other sides in a 30, 60, 90? Does anybody know what the shortest side is going to be? X? Half
of 12.
of 12, which is? 6. At 30, 60, 90, the shortest side is always half the hypotenuse. Remember what we do in order to get the other side?
The square root of the slope.
Multiply by the square root of 3. So we got 6 roots of 3. The reason why this should be familiar is when we did 0, 1/2, root of 2 over 2, root of 3 over 2, and 1, notice that we multiply 1/2 by the square root of 3 to get square root of 3 over 2. That comes from our trigonometry stuff. Suppose we had a 45, 45, 90, and you knew the hypotenuse was 5. You want to try to find the sides. In order to go from a leg to a hypotenuse, we multiply by root of 2. So to go the other way, we're going to divide by the root of 2. So this side here is in fact 5 over the root of 2, which is 5 roots of 2 over 2. We're not going to actually work this problem out, but do you remember the formula for distance if you're trying to find the distance between 2 points?
X2 plus X1 divided by 2.
Close.
Oh, that's midpoint.
Midpoint. So we'll do that one first. Nevaeh said it. She's got midpoint is going to be, you take the x values and add them together and divide by 2. You take the y values, add them together and divide by 2. That's the midpoint formula. The distance formula is a take off of the Pythagorean theorem. A squared plus b squared is c squared. And if you remember that, then you may remember that is x of 2 minus x of 1, that quantity squared. So remember how this finishes off? Plus y sub 2 minus y sub 1 quantity squared. The Pythagorean theorem is the distance formula. Once you're given those formulas, you know what to do, wouldn't you? I don't think they give you those. Okay? Yes?
What is the x equals negative b plus or minus the square root formula? What is that one?
So if you have x is equal to negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all divided by 2a, that is our quadratic formula. And we use that if we need to solve, say, x squared minus 4x minus, we'll go 6 is equal to 0. That can't be factored, so you must use the quadratic formula for it.
Okay.
And we're going to reference that in just a second here. Vertex of a parabola, determine the following vertex. You should be able to look at a parabola and be able to say, well, hey, what form is it in? this is in vertex form. So the vertex is simply the horizontal shift and the vertical shift. What's the horizontal shift here? 4. What's the vertical shift? So the vertex is 4, 1. The next one is not in vertex form, so you must use a formula to figure out the vertex. How do we figure out the vertex? Well, there's a formula, and that formula is hidden, as Nevaeh said, right in the quadratic formula. Just use negative b divided by 2a. So the vertex is going to be negative b divided by twice the a value. Negative b is a positive 6, and twice the a value is 2. And that gives me a grand total of 3. How do I figure out the y value? Plug it in, and you get negative 13. You guys are doing great. We're almost to the back page. Talk to the person next to you. See if you can figure out the center and the radius of that circle. Just the top one. Just the top one. See what comes back to your mind.
This.
4 negative 3 is the center. Because that equals x.
Yeah.
Because we didn't.
I don't know what's right.
Yeah. You might.
I think that's
Yeah.
a good question like this.
So probably because of that way better.
Not right, I can't remember.
What's that?
We're just talking about like, we didn't get this practice last year. Like, it's just algebra that we practiced.
I probably would have been way better.
Yeah.
But
I think the review does matter.
yeah.
The center is 4, negative 3, and the radius is going to be the square root of 18, which is 3 roots of 2. I've done many reviews over the year. This one I've settled on as part of my 8th different form of review, and this is one I continue to use, just simply because the scores have gotten better.
Yeah.
Okay, the next one. It is not in the proper form. I have never seen a practice test where you don't have something involving a circle on it this way. I generally see it in that form, but if it's in this form, you should be prepared. This is a higher level question. I have seen it asked once. What do you have to do in order to find the center here? Yeah, complete the square. Excellent. Do you know how to do that?
No.
I separate into these variables. What do I add here to complete the square? 1. What do I add here to complete the square? 9. So notice this factors to an x minus 1 quantity squared, and this factors to a y plus 3 quantity squared, and it is equal to 4. Now it's easy to determine the center. The center is equal to 1, negative 3, and the radius is dos,
How do
which
you
is
find the
Spanish
radius?
for 2. Radius is the square root of the number on the end.
Whoa. Yeah.
Hey, can I help you here so you can see it? Okay.
Yeah.
So just look at what we have. We have a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared. So remember, when you come up with c squared, that's not your answer. You need to take the square root in order to find that length. That's why it's the square root of that. The equation for a circle, again, Pythagorean theorem. Flip it over. You guys are almost there. Magnitude size change. I see this question a lot. Suppose that you have a square and the square has an area of 5. Okay, the area of 5. And what we're going to do is we're going to triple the sides. We're going to triple the size, or I'm sorry, yeah, increase the size of a square by a factor of 3. Do you know what the new area would be? It's okay to be wrong. What's your first inclination?
Well, you
Well,
at first you
25.
think 15. Oh,
First,
no.
yeah, first thought is multiply by 3, right?
Yeah.
To get 15. That's a good thought.
Yeah.
Raised to the
Sides
third power.
are.
Is it?
What's that?
Raised to the third power.
Is it
Close.
25? No, so
All right, so this is where, okay, so area is that 1-dimensional, 2-dimensional, or 3-dimensional?
Two.
Area is 2-dimensional. So therefore, we square it because it's 2-dimensional. So it's going to be 9 times. You see that? Watch, I'll do an example for you. Suppose that this was 4. Suppose it was a 2x2 square, and it was then going to produce a 6x6 square. This area is 36. See how it's 9 times? Because it's times 3 times 3, 2-dimensional. Get that? So it's times 9. Apply that to the next one. It says if the sides of a cube are decreased by a factor of 1/2, what is the volume decreased by? What dimension is volume? 3. So we're going to take 1/2 and cube it, and we get 1/8. It will be 1/8 the volume of the other. So area, square the factor. Volume, cube the factor. That easy. See that? Hey, you're done with the geometry review. Way to go. Now we get to data and probability. This is usually common sense for people. We're going to talk about Shelly. She scored an 80, a 64, a 92, a 56, and an 88 on her test. What's your average score if teacher eliminates the lowest grade of the average? I asked this question a few years ago, and only half the class got it right. See if you can get it right. Go. '81 is the correct result. A lot of people don't get 81. Why? They divide by 5, or they never get rid of the 56. Okay? So just pay attention to the problem. Sometimes you want to move quickly through the ACT. Slow. That was my biggest problem. I skipped over stuff all the time because I was just always trying to fly. And you got to keep good pace. Determine the missing data. Shelly wants to have an average of 84. Right now she's got an 81. If she has one more additional test to take, what would she need to score in order for her average, along with the other 4, to be at an 84? So she's wondering what score she needs. So how many tests does she have now? 5. And the scores of those tests will be the 324 plus her additional tests that she takes. She wants that to be at a score of 84. That's the equation we want to solve. How do we solve that? '84 over 1 cross multiply? Sounds good. So you get 324 plus x is equal to 420 when you cross multiply. Subtract that 324, x is equal to 96. Is Shelly getting a 96?
No.
Okay, we don't believe in Shelly. She's out of luck. Tough luck, Shelly. 2 more problems today and we're done. Blood types of 150 people were determined for a study, and it's shown below. If one person is chosen at random, what is the probability this person has either type A or type AB blood? You got 5 choices. Take 40 seconds, see if you get the right choice. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We got type A or type AB. That's a total of 73 people out of the 150. So that would be letter D. Final problem for the day. We'll finish up the other 2 tomorrow. A bag contains 12 marbles, 5 yellow and 15 green. How many additional red marbles must be added to the 32 already in the bag so that the probability of randomly drawing is 3 out of 5? We're going to give you 1 minute and 40 seconds to try this. Go ahead. 1 minute, 40 seconds. This is one you'd probably spend a little bit more than a minute on if you were to do it. So we're going to give you more than a minute. You have 40 seconds left to make a guess. Ten seconds. And stop. We currently have 12 out of 32. We want to change that to 3 over 5. If you're going to change it and you're adding red marbles, is that going to change the 12? Yeah, it is. Is it going to change the total number in the bag?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just wondering, did anybody set up that equation? 1, 2. Okay, maybe 3. Last hour, only 2 people set it up. It's okay to not set it up. What was your way of finding it? Because the correct answer is 18. If you didn't set that up, what did you choose to do? Yeah.
I did 12 plus x equals 3/5 times x plus 32.
Okay.
I did
All
the
right.
same thing as that.
Anybody just plug them in and just try? It's like, just try it over and over again. Okay, that's what Ava Murray did. She said, I just tried it until I got one to work out 3/5. That's absolutely fine. Whatever you want to do is up to you. You don't get more points for setting it up. But without a doubt, if I'm a teacher, I'm teaching you to set up an algebraic expression in that way because that will work every single time. We'll finish off the last 2 tomorrow. Great job. What do you need to do tonight? Last 25. Remember, you doing better means possibly more money for you or a different college or whatever. So make sure that you're making it worth your while. I don't get paid more if you do better.
Are we gonna turn both of these in?
Yes, everything that you're doing, you'll end up turning in. Last time it was somebody asked me if I had Medicaid, right?
Yeah.
Should we ask them again? Should we see what they want?
Yeah.
Can you put on speakerphone?
Yo.
Hello, this is Marilyn from Renewal by Anderson. Is this Kevin?
This is. Well, I was. It's just that unfortunately right now doesn't work to schedule an appointment. So I originally I vetted some other maybe on Wednesday tonight at 6:30. Unfortunately, I had to cancel just because I tracked you could. Just the only problem is I just gotta be honest. In the summer, I might be available, but it's just it's just every night I got practice till rather late. You know, a lot of nights it's 6:30, 7 o'clock before getting home, and then it's family and supper and stuff. So if it was in the summer or winter or fall, I'd probably be in a better spot. But my availability is just about 0 right now. Nope, but if somebody wants to call me and possibly schedule something for the summer, I might be able to do that. Yep, you too. Thank you. Bye.
Literally all the way. Hey, move. Sorry if I get you flexed out. I'm sorry. You have snacks on the
Hello. My Bucks made the Sweet 16.
Nice. After barely knowing you were participating in it.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, I was like, well, and so it was like fourth hour today. I got information from Jess, so I was like trying to figure out, man, how do we do this categories thing, and like where do we get the topics, and so we just sent it out.
Yeah.
Diane came over, and Diane has some sophomores, and they're not exactly just super into it.
Yeah.
Whereas my group, we have actually, sometimes my flex, but we played a fair amount
Yeah.
of that together, so
Yeah.
it's all good.
Brandon, you're late. Stupid. Hey! Good little kid. Should I get your beat up back? Bro! Tommy! Tommy? Yeah.
Girls, you guys got somewhere to be?